Right, call the meeting to order. I'd like to introduce Carrie Pillar in the first instance, who has taken on to try and get this budget sorted. And we'll look at the two budgets that I've asked her to prepare with a view to then setting our precept at the level that we feel might be appropriate.
Good evening. Please can I ask you to be kind? It's taken me 10 days to learn this council, to learn these accounts, to learn about you, to be able to put a budget to you. And I have created two. Hope that you can make an invoice formed shortly by looking at the history, by looking at what's going on, to see where the council wants to take it. So the first sheet I'd like you to take a glance at is this one.
Is this the first time the council has seen these documents?
They've had some of them
We had
by
them
email.
10 days ago by email.
Yeah.
All right, so you had them when I got them as well.
They've been updated as we've got
That's
further,
not helpful.
Right.
as we've had further information in.
Councillor Malcolm,
So,
that's not helpful.
okay, so the first document is basically just an analysis of the AGAR. So this is showing that back in 2018, we had a precept of 27,000. The reason for that is you started the street lighting adaptation. So this was the council building that had to take over. There's still some street light work to be done. So this is the bank rec with that shows you the amount of reserves in there at the moment, which sits at 83,000, and you have no safety net for any of those assets.
They're all under warranty for 10 years.
Some work, but there'll be some renewal. It'll be the lights at the top.
Our lights were all on warranty.
But what about putting a small reserve of £10,000? The next one is the cemetery. Could be a massive cost there. So let's look at the budget. Tried to make these words talk. Initially, when I first did the budget, I did one budget, and I basically said to recommend that the council does not raise the precept. At the moment, it sits at £28.76 per elector. Due to current cost of living and the council reserves of 83,000, that's 156 above the annual expenditure. There is no earmarked reserve for emergencies. The second column looks at taking the precept back to the pre-rise of £28,000. This comes with a compromise, though, of the Parish Council handing back grass cutting to North Yorkshire County Council. It would then be North Yorkshire County Council to cut the highway verges. In the 10 days I've learnt the majority of complaints come into the council is regarding hedge cutting and grass cutting. That would become the elected member's responsibility for North Yorkshire County Council and would take the headache away from you. That would become the elected member's responsibility for North Yorkshire County Council and would take the headache away from you. The grass cutting is estimated to be £11,000 next
Parish
year.
Council receive money on account for them, for us doing their visibility space.
They only cut the entrance to the village. What's going to happen to the middle of the village?
Well-
We're going to get council running around grazing dock as it used to.
It may be that residents would cut it like they do in other villages. Cemetery is the next income stream. This is really difficult to predict just due to the nature of it. In the past it's been estimated at £3,500. It was higher this year. It costs £20,000 a year to maintain. There's a couple of unknown quantities. I do know a little bit more now since I've written this. I've rewritten this so many times. Income printing seems very high. There is an element of that needs to be discussed in the closed session. Please take
What closed session?
We haven't taken a vote on that.
website to work. She's trying to pull together an estimate. We've given a ballpark figure somewhere between £1,000 and £1,500 for her to £1,000 to £1,500 to try and rewrite the webpage. And the next costs are, while the clerk remains off sick, the council will need locums or consultants. This will have increased costs. This again is difficult to budget. There is also a casual vacancy, but there will be costs there if 10 of parishioners ask for an election. This will be an election for every seat on the council, not just for the casual seat. Chair, would you like to ask the council if they've got any questions for me?
Okay, so are there any questions that councillors would like to ask of Carrie as regards this?
If you stick at the 45,000 precepts and the costs stay at what I believe they are. So we have the general reserve at the moment sits at 80 and I'm asking you to move 30 into earmark reserve for safety.
Can I just ask one question? Does this have to be done
Now.
tonight?
Right. We've had one brief email but not from the correct person that it can go to the 10th of January.
Position and not
So
to
I've
increase
not
it
had
over
the
time. We don't
correct
wanna lose it
person
from that.
tell me that we can go longer than tonight. So yes, you could not decide and you can have another extraordinary meeting before the 31st if you wish. I have tried to get an answer from the correct person but I've not got it.
Can I just make a point here?
Well, do we want to ask the members of the public?
Can I finish explaining some of this?
Yeah, go on.
Well, if the preset and you put 30,000 in earmark reserve, that drops the earmark reserves today to £53,000. You will be at a loss of £35,747.78p and your reserve will drop to £17,453.
So, I mean, if we were to drop the precept this year, we certainly do not need the precept we've currently got. But certainly for this year, it seems to me it would make sense for us to reduce our precept quite significantly. Right, so we sort of have two options at present, which either if we vote to say, okay, we need more time to look at this, we need to have another meeting before the end of December, or we decide which of the two proposed budgets that we are going for, whether we keep the precept the same or whether we reduce it. Okay, so do you want to vote on one of these or do we want to defer? I'm not quite, shall I just
You
give
asked for a
one
vote?
vote?
No, you
Right.
asked for two votes. You asked for one if they want to defer.
Right.
Yes, deferring.
1, 2. Right,
I
so
know.
that's, so that's
It's
fine.
too much to take in tonight. I need to know what all the bills are.
This year, because of the unitary authority thing, brought back a month earlier, I don't quite understand why, but...
Chairman, can I give some clarification here as a North Yorkshire County Councillor? Because I have an
Well,
email.
we've been liaising with the mayor.
But it's not the information I've got from North Yorkshire County Council here. So I've got a letter from the monitoring officer and it says, I have no idea why the parish council are contacting North Yorkshire County Council. I have confirmed to the interim clerk that we have granted an extension of time and it is the gift of Rydale District Council to do this. I further advise that the official cut-off date is the 31st of December. However, provided we have it by the middle of January, we are fine with this. Mandy Birchall, one of our accountants, and who deals with the council tax, has confirmed this extension to them.
But we've not had that email.
Well, that's what I've got, and I just think it would solve a lot of
It would
problems.
help a lot, Jack.
Yes,
Except we
exactly.
have that formally to the
I
council.
mean, we've never seen these before.
Can I ask Janet a question?
You've got to ask the other
No.
councillors to vote.
So can Janet give you the email address of this lady that sent her
Well, that's,
details?
no, that was Elizabeth Heath.
Yes, but she confirms that Mandy Birchall,
well, no,
the
unless we
accountant,
have
who
it
deals with
directly
that,
from.
and that Rydale District Council and not North Yorkshire County Council are the precepting authority.
So do we want to defer to a further meeting, which would have to be, I guess, next week?
I'm not doing it over Christmas now.
Well, fair enough.
I don't know when anyway.
So in that case, do we wish to make a vote on which of these two budgets we want to go with?
We need
Well,
to look at this in big detail.
which is why you were sent most of it.
Yeah, but they're
We can
totally
have it.
different.
I've rewritten this so many times.
Well, there's some variation, but they're not.
The only thing that's added in is the electric, that the figures
Yeah.
have come through.
That's the only one that wasn't there before.
This insurance certificate, has anybody actually read it to see what they're insuring?
Well, yes, we've
That's
gone
one
into
thing
that
for
as
the
well.
next
That's
agenda.
another
That's the
item.
thing in the next agenda we
That's
need to
another
talk
item we need
about.
to look at.
Yeah.
So are we voting on these budgets then? Can I do them both at once or?
Do them separate
Do them
separate
separate.
votes. Give the council a
Right,
choice.
so okay, we have the first one which keeps the precept as it is. Who is in favour of
Excuse me,
that?
Chair.
Do we need
You're asking them
first
to
and second?
vote if they want to vote on the budget. You're asking for a clear vote that they want to
Oh,
vote on
right,
the budget
okay,
tonight.
okay. Right, so first of all, before we vote on which budget we're going for, we need to establish whether you wish to vote on the budget tonight.
I'd like to make it
So
clear in our
can we
minutes.
have a show of hands for a vote on the budget tonight?
Just let
Yeah, about what we're saying about we haven't the paperwork in place to say we have an extension. I just
He
want
wants
it
me to
minutes.
document that we haven't had a clear email from North Yorkshire County Council
Yeah,
from the
yeah.
right person that we can have an
So
extension.
we're having to do it for that reason
Yes,
now.
Yes.
yes, yeah, no,
So we're
exactly.
having to do it for that reason
Yes,
now.
yes. Just give me a minute.
Okay, so before the larger one, clear on the concept of the emergency reserve, the ERM, the emergency reserve.
Yeah.
What's it stand for? So in terms of, are we happy to adopt that as a move to put this as an emergency reserve fund that is sitting there? All those in favour? Are you understanding my question? Sorry, it's really
We've
a
crossed
lousy
over,
question.
I thought we were voting on this first.
No, we're doing it's emergency reserve first. Sorry, I was reminded by Harry here that we were
So it's
doing the
like
emergency.
put
We need to vote to
30,000.
whether we're moving that 30,000 to keep as a safety net,
Yeah.
if you will, a safety fund for not earmarked, but sort of notionally ticked as being for these particular areas because these are areas of potential risk that we are. Okay, so are we voting on designating those three areas for 10,000 each in this case? So all those in favour? Unanimous. Okay, now in terms of the budget, am I voting on one and then on the second?
Yeah.
Right, so budget one, which is keeping the precept as it is.
Do it the other way. Do it the other way.
The other way, the lower one. Okay, so we go for reducing the precept, so instead of being £28, whatever it was, per person, £28.76 per elector, it then reduces to £17.70. Those in favour of that one?
Andrew,
Yes?
last year when this was discussed, the present,
Yes.
and if we didn't put it up, we wouldn't be able to put it up in the future.
If you decrease it now, you might not be able to increase it. That was because I think the logic behind that was that there were a lot of changes in local government at that point. Now, there haven't been any further changes from that regard. Our reserves are very high.
Correct, but the rule book seems to be thrown out.
What rule? Well, people have responsibility for the areas outside their house, is the reality.
But was there an argument to push it back to North Yorkshire?
Yeah, I mean, the visibility place, certainly. I mean, if those complaints come in, then those complaints will go to North Yorkshire.
That would become the elected member's responsibility for North Yorkshire County Council when we
Yeah.
take the
It's-
head
Can I
Then
just
you-
ask
yeah.
a question? This 38,922 on the pre-19 budget,
Yeah.
is that with the pre-set?
At 28.
With the precept at 28.
Yeah, that's including.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, there are biodiversity arguments in terms of leaving some grass to grow, but isn't necessary to cut it. Sorry, that's a term that should be coming in, but yes.
The lower one is without the grass cutting.
Well, at the moment it's got the grass cutting in there and it shows that it would actually make a loss within next year of 35,000 if you drop it. So it drops your reserve next year right down to 17,000.
At the moment,
There's such a lot, I mean, as fuel councillors, we don't know. We have to, to do with what the caretakers do, everything. I mean, our main purpose, I'd like to keep it as it is, but we take the bull by the horns this next year and get this bloody council sorted out.
These are two examples. One is based on
So you
what was 2019, and the other is based on
You
what
could
is the
say
current
knock
year.
off 10 grand. If you stayed as you are, you're still going to make a loss. So if the costs keep going up, And you stay-
a bigger loss.
yeah.
If
Is
we
the
keep
community
doing the stuff
wanting
that
you
we
to
are.
stay as it is? You've got to think of what the community wants as well. And if it's that they want a reduction in precept, how do you give them it?
And the grass cutting and the caretakers are the biggest bills.
I mean, I'm on about the budget. We've got to make sure we're getting value for money
Yeah.
off these people.
Oh, yeah.
That's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't a clue what the schedule is. I want to see a schedule of what they have to do. We're going off the subject, but that's my point.
So, first question is, do you want to keep the precept as it is, or do you want to lower the precepts?
Sorry.
Go on, are you going to stick on that? So we are initially taking a vote on whether we keep the precept at its current level, which is to give us the 45,500 and amounts to £28.76 per elector. So hands up those who would like to keep the precept as it is.
We don't know what our costs are going to
Yeah,
be.
that's five councillors. Right, so can we record that vote, please?
Please, can I? So the precept has been kept at 49,500.
Mhm.
We should have had more.
Because in the previous minutes they didn't really record the payments, it's just not minuted in the minute. There has been some payments that have had to go, the insurance, ICO, HMRC for the payroll.
Is this a list of what we've got insured?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a
Why
bit odd.
not deleting a lot?
Look,
I know,
Taylor into
that's-
Silton and that, because we ain't got a freezer, have we?
We haven't got a freezer,
Where's
we don't do any crafts, ridiculous.
No,
Oh, them bits down at the bottom, they'll be, so that was for you to have in your budget, but that we
There you
can't
are.
really decide on.
that's not our responsibility.
The War Memorial, is that the same thing?
No.
Yeah, I don't quite know why we're insuring it.
I implore you to think of how to reduce costs.
Well, we can reduce costs greatly by taking off at least 8 on this list.
Is this what gets posted in the notice board?
Once elections office has approved it, I'm not going to.
Please do not talk while, if you wish to talk, excuse me, if you're going to talk, you do need to leave the room.
I spoke in length to Julia Hay regarding the website of how we can make it work for the council.
So the budgeted figure of £1,500, are we,
Yes.
I propose we delegate the responsibility for sorting that out. All in favour?
Yeah, are we all unanimous? Sorry, yeah.
Right, we have a casual vacancy as a result of the resignation of Councillor Flynn. If I read you this notice, we then need to approve us sending this to the...
We basically have no choice.
You just need to be aware of this. An election to fill this vacancy will be held if, within 14 days of the date of this notice, a request by 10 local government electors for the said parish area is received by the returning officer of the Rydal District Council. 14 working days later, if sufficient, if 10 or more registered electors for this area have made the request for an election, then all councillors will go to election. Unfortunately, when we had the local clerk, she wasn't getting us to sign the minutes. That has been overlooked.
I have got July, September and October that it all says in the,
Yeah.
each minute that they've been
They have
approved,
been
but I've
approved.
no signed copies of.
Any objection to my signing these at this point?
Are you all happy for November minutes to be signed as they weren't signed?
We were present, so we can't.
There's only councillors Firth and Firth.
Do you was Councillor Halsworth there?
No,
No.
just us two.
Who minute took?
Me.
Do you mind signing them, please? Would you mind initialing every page? 1, 2, 3. Right, initial those 2 pages, sign, print, date that page.
Can I just say I object to my name being put against the side of the councillors. I wasn't there as a councillor from North Yorkshire. Now it's up to you to sign
can't
it.
talk to me. I wasn't there.
Yeah, well you were there and you put
No,
me down as a...
I wasn't.
No, sorry, I'm sorry, Nancy and Donna were there. I wasn't there in my capacity as a councillor, and it looks like there are five councillors were present. I wasn't present as a councillor. Neither was William Oxley.
So, it's on December's minutes.
November's.
You didn't put that, did you?
So they want, right, it's alright, they'll be resubmitted in January then. It's because they mentioned, they want,
It's only me, you and Caroline here, wasn't it?
apologies, that is my fault.
Are we going to have the same problem with it?
December, but they went into the closed session.
I haven't seen the December ones.
Came out in the same email.
And December should come up at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Can we go
This is-
with-
this is the following one.
This
This
is
is
an
the-
Can we go
extraordinary
with the
week.
Yeah,
next meeting?
can.
Before-
Technically, the last meeting was an extraordinary meeting as well. Did you not notice?
Yeah, because we haven't declared it.
Yeah. There's a couple of, well, certainly one item that, because it relates specifically to somebody that we will need to discuss, it needs to be held in closed session. Well, legal matter?
Maybe.
Yeah, it has legal implications. Propose that we,
Decide the next meeting and then close.
in closed session, to address this possible legal issue.
Shouldn't you give a week's notice of closed sessions?
Come up while fine.
It's a matter that's come up
Things
within
do
the
come up,
finances.
and you have to do it,
Yeah.
don't
It's
you?
not that
And I
you,
mean, it's done within finance, so in a sense it's within finance, so it's minuted in that it is within the budget.
So we need to have a resolution during the closed session now.
Yeah, so I put the resolution to council that we go into a closed session to consider an item within the budget that cannot be discussed in a public meeting. All those in favour? Right, we have unanimity.
We have 10th allocated, haven't we?
Yeah.
10th of January.
Are you happy with
Yeah,
that?
so 10th of January here. So the public session of the council meeting is now closed. Thank you very much for your attendance. It's really nice to see so many people here.